roller coasters. Oftentimes, the ultimate thrill at any theme park. These steel structures are built to soar the skies and help us experience things that we would never be able to do on our own 2 feet. For many people, they're also a rite of passage, challenges that we take on whether we're visiting for the first time or testing ourselves to see if we can handle the thrill of a brand new coaster. There are hundreds of world-class, record-breaking coasters around the world. Some parks have built their entire reputation around them, but Universal's relationship with roller coasters has always been a little different. Over the last 35 years, roller coasters have transformed from supporting attractions into some of the biggest reasons people walk through the gates of every Universal park around the world. So in this video, I want to go through the history of every roller coaster at Universal around the world. I want to talk about some of the earliest and smallest, the biggest and most iconic, some legendary coasters that are no longer with us, and the fast and furious future of high-speed thrills at a Universal theme park. In order to do that, we need to start this video at the beginning, with the opening of Universal Studios Florida. On June 7th, 1990, Universal Studios Florida officially opens to the public. This was the movie studio's first foray into the theme park landscape, and also their first major expansion outside of Hollywood all the way across the country to Orlando, Florida. Walt Disney World right next door had transformed Orlando into the family vacation capital of the world, and Universal wanted a piece of that pie. The park, when it first opened up, had one major theme in mind: ride the movies.
If you want to go on the greatest rides based on the biggest movies, there's only one place you can. You've got to go to Orlando and go to Universal Studios Florida. Universal Studios Florida, the only place on earth where you can ride the movies.
The park would not only take guests behind the scenes to show how films were made and worked on, but also take things an extra step further and immerse them in the movies that they loved. Rides like Jaws, Earthquake, and Confrontation were all parts of California's Studio Tram Tour that got the full ride treatment in Orlando. And standalone experiences like E.T. Adventure and Back to the Future sent guests into the worlds of popular movies with exciting new ride technology that hadn't been used at theme parks before. This is how Universal chose to introduce thrill in their park, with the explosions from stunt shows, monsters coming to life on stage, and high-tech simulators putting you right in the action of blockbuster movies. The park in its beginning years was moderately successful because very early on, Universal decided that they wanted to differentiate themselves from the competition by rebranding as an edgy alternative to the Disney Vacation, with special events like Halloween Horror Nights and scary but exciting rides like Jaws. But even though Universal was providing thrills that Disney couldn't match, Disney had something that Universal didn't have and desperately needed: roller coasters. In the mid-90s, there were already more physical thrill rides at Walt Disney World than Universal Studios Florida. Magic Kingdom had Space Mountain, which opened in 1975, and Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in 1980. Even though they weren't coasters, the park had thrills with big drop rides like Splash Mountain in 1992 and the Tower of Terror over at MGM Studios in 1994. Even 2 hours away at Busch Gardens in Tampa, there were classic roller coasters like the Python and the Scorpion that had been there since the 70s and 80s. If Universal was to keep their reputation as the edgy theme park in Orlando, they needed rides to match what was happening everywhere else. And so they revealed their first major Florida expansion, Islands of Adventure. Islands of Adventure would be the second Florida park and promise thrills that didn't exist before: roller coasters. Big roller coasters, like a launching coaster based off the Incredible Hulk from Marvel Comics, and 2 inverted coasters riding alongside each other called Dueling Dragons. Construction began on the promising new theme park, and it would open soon in the summer of 1999. But before Islands of Adventure officially opened its gates, the Studios Park would quietly get the first ever roller coaster built in a Universal park in March of 1999, Woody Woodpecker's Nuthouse coaster. Universal's first ever coaster was a junior coaster behind E.T. Adventure. It was added to the relatively new at the time Woody Woodpecker's Kids Zone area of the park and took riders on a 45-second ride through the Nuthouse factory. Reaching a top speed of around 21 miles per hour and being 28 feet tall, this was also one of Universal's early attempts to create more kid-friendly attractions, as there weren't many at the Studios park. As riders went down the first drop, they would hear Woody Woodpecker's famous laugh. This version of the ride closed in 2023 and came back as the rethemed Troller Coaster, which is now part of DreamWorks Land. A few months later, the time was finally here. Islands of Adventure opened to the public on May 28, 1999, and revolutionized the theme park experience. The park had 6 highly themed lands with standout attractions like the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man and the Jurassic Park River Adventure. But it also finally brought something that would truly solidify Universal's thrilling edge over its competitors: roller coasters. As soon as guests entered Islands of Adventure on their left, they would hear the bellowing roar of the Incredible Hulk coaster.
Everything looks good. I think this time it's going to work.
Warning.
Standing 110 feet tall, this mighty coaster's green track rips through the sky with 7 inversions, a 104-foot drop, and features a unique launch system that hasn't been seen outside of a Universal park. The Hulk uses over 200 drive tire motors to launch the roller coaster upwards from 0 to 40 miles per hour straight into a 0G roll. Dropping down and going back up into a Cobra roll and then into a vertical loop all above the Islands of Adventure Lagoon, it quickly became the headline attraction of Universal's newest park, and still exists as a legendary coaster in Orlando. More importantly, Hulk proved that Universal could build a world-class thrill ride capable of standing alongside the best coasters in the world. In the back of the park stood not just one, but 2 big thrills: Dueling Dragons. Few roller coasters have ever captured the imagination of coaster fans quite like Dueling Dragons. It featured 2 unique inverted tracks, Fire and Ice, each standing 125 feet tall and stretching over 3,200 feet in length. Fire reached speeds of 60 miles per hour, while Ice topped out at 55, and both packed 5 inversions into their layouts. What truly set Dueling Dragons apart, however, was the way the 2 coasters interacted. Riders on Fire experienced a layout featuring 2 Immelman loops, a vertical loop, and twin corkscrews, while Ice delivered a completely different ride with a 0G roll, Cobra roll, vertical loop, and a corkscrew. These 2 tracks were carefully designed to weave around one another, creating a series of near-miss moments as the trains raced through the course side by side. At the time, nothing else in the world offered quite the same experience. The combination of intense inversions, innovative dueling elements, and the suspense of watching another train seemingly charge towards you helped make Dueling Dragons an instant classic. More than 2 decades after its debut, many enthusiasts still consider it to be one of the greatest and most ambitious roller coasters Universal has ever built. To make sure there's something for the kids, the Jurassic Park area is home to Pteranodon Flyers, a small suspended single-rail roller coaster that flies over the Camp Jurassic Play area. This is one of the only rides at Universal with a posted height limit, which makes it a roller coaster truly intended for small children and their families. A year into Islands of Adventure's opening, Universal adds another junior coaster to their roster. The Flying Unicorn opens in the Lost Continent. This coaster stands over 40 feet tall and reaches speeds of 28 miles per hour, and its creation fills an important gap in the park's lineup: family-friendly thrills. With 2 family coasters and 2 headliner thrills, Universal Orlando Resort plants a flag as a theme park resort that perfectly balances immersion, technology, and high-intensity thrills that can only be found here. And with the opening of Islands of Adventure, the ball continues to roll for more unique coasters at the Florida parks. But in 2001, across the other side of the world, another major Universal milestone is happening: the first Universal park to open in Asia.
Here's the power of Hollywood! Universal Studios Japan!
Universal Studios Japan opens in Osaka on March 31st, 2001, and was an immediate success, bringing over 11 million visitors in its first year. This park followed the blueprints of Universal Studios Florida, opening its park with rides like E.T., Back to the Future, Jaws, and Universal Wonderland, the kids area of the park, which included Snoopy Studios, an indoor play area themed to the Peanuts that had USJ's first ever roller coaster, Snoopy's Great Race. This was a well-themed family coaster where guests were helping Snoopy film a movie and would fly through various set pieces. This would be the only other roller coaster at this park for another 5 years. Coming back over to the States, a major shift in how Universal approaches coasters is about to happen. They are about to create one of the first modern attractions to seamlessly blend a fully themed dark ride with a high-speed indoor roller coaster, helping define a ride system that would become increasingly common throughout the industry. And that attraction is the Revenge of the Mummy. Revenge of the Mummy opens in 2004 in both Florida and Universal Studios Hollywood, and has the milestone of being the first roller coaster at that park. Revenge of the Mummy perfectly showcases what Universal does best, putting guests in the middle of a blockbuster movie, combining detailed show scenes with animatronics, practical effects like fire, mist, and water, and a high-speed indoor coaster in the dark that goes backwards, the attraction blends storytelling and thrills into a single experience. Even though both versions of the ride were relatively similar thematically, the actual coaster portions are very different. Florida's Mummy ride was built in the former Confrontation Ride soundstage, which was a very large building, so the coaster is longer, taller, and has bigger drops. The Mummy in California took the place of E.T. Adventure, a smaller ride, so the track layout is more compact and lower to the ground, but features a longer backward section. The Revenge of the Mummy still stands as a fan-favorite attraction at both of the Universal parks here in America. We find ourselves back in Osaka in 2007 as Universal Japan opens their first large-scale coaster, Hollywood Dream: The Ride. With a height of 144 feet and a top speed of 56 miles per hour, this steel coaster opens at the front of the park and becomes an irreplaceable part of the USJ skyline. Another thing that makes this coaster unique is the ability to pick your own music before the ride starts. Each seat on Hollywood Dream has a stereo sound system in the headrest, so each rider could have their own personalized experience flying over the Hollywood area of the park. In 2013, the park offered a special version of the ride called Hollywood Dream Backdrop. In this version of the ride, riders would actually ride the coaster in reverse on a train specifically made to do so. It was so popular that the park decided to keep it permanently, and now visitors can choose whether to wait for the front or backwards facing train. Seeing the success of Hollywood Dream at USJ inspired Orlando to create their own music-based roller coaster, Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. This ride opened in 2009, and just like Hollywood Dream, became a recognizable icon at Universal Orlando Resort. Rocket was best known for two things: its 167-foot tall, 90-degree angled vertical lift hill, and the fact that just like Hollywood Dream, you could pick your own music. Rocket used a touchscreen to pick music from 5 different genres and even had a list of over 60 secret songs that you could pick from if you put in a numbered code correctly. Rip Ride Rocket also featured some unique coaster elements themed to music. After all, riders were meant to be starring in their own music videos. The Double Take was a 103-foot wide, non-inverting loop, and at the time of the ride's opening was the largest in the world. Other elements like the treble clef and the jump cut thrilled riders on what was Universal Studios Florida's only major coaster at the original park. And though through its years it gained a reputation of being one of the roughest rides at Universal, Rip Ride Rocket made music video history for 16 years until it closed on August 2025. By 2009, Universal had successfully molded a space for their parks in the theme park landscape. There were big coasters at almost every Universal park around the world, and more on the way. But in 2010, something would come to Universal that would change it forever: Harry Potter. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter opens at Islands of Adventure in June of that year and changes the theme park landscape forever. With this brand new land, Universal raises the bar and standards for how theme parks are built and pushes new technology on its standout new ride, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. Hogsmeade Village takes over half of the Lost Continent and rethemes the 2 existing coasters in that area of the park with it. The Flying Unicorn becomes the Flight of the Hippogriff, where riders see and learn to fly on a hippogriff, and the legendary Dueling Dragons becomes Dragon Challenge, where now instead of fire and ice dragons, riders would challenge either the Chinese Fireball or the Hungarian Horntail in the Tri-Wizard Tournament. The coasters ran identically to their previous versions until 2015, when metal detectors were added to Dragon Challenge, and the 2 tracks no longer ran at the same time. They were also added to the Incredible Hulk coaster and Rip Ride Rocket and would become the standard in all major coasters at Universal moving forward. Despite the major changes, it was still a popular ride at the park and soared through the skies until 2017 to make way for another roller coaster. Harry Potter changes the game for Universal and creates a snowball effect of expansions that don't slow down for 10 years. Back on the other side of the world, Universal's 5th theme park opens in Singapore. Universal Studios Singapore is unveiled in 2011 and is part of a larger resort island called Sentosa. And even though it's the smallest of the Universal parks, it still manages to pack some memorable thrills. This is the first Universal park to get Transformers The Ride 3D, which would soon be replicated at almost every other Universal park. They also get their own version of Revenge of the Mummy, which drops the behind-the-scenes aspect of the story and gets its own themed land. And the park's crown jewel ride is Battlestar Galactica, Human vs. Cylon, the world's tallest dueling coaster exclusive to the Singapore park. The 2 tracks reach a height of 140 feet and feature 2 different types of roller coasters dueling. The red Human coaster is a non-inverting sit-down roller coaster, while the blue Cylon track is an inverted coaster with multiple upside-down elements. Singapore also gets its own version of Pteranodon flyers with Canopy Flyer, a suspended roller coaster where riders sit back-to-back of each other and fly over Jurassic Park. In Far, Far Away, a land based off Shrek, is Enchanted Airways. This is a family coaster where riders ride on a train meant to look like Dragon and get some waterside views of the park. One more roller coaster would be added in 2015 in Far Far Away. Puss in Boots' Giant Journey is a suspended roller coaster where riders join Puss in Boots and his friends on an adventure with multiple show scenes and very light thrills. 2014 brings the second expansion of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter to Universal Orlando with Diagon Alley. This area brings even more immersive theming to its park and also introduces Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, a 3D simulator / roller coaster hybrid ride. Taking inspiration from The Revenge of the Mummy, this ride effortlessly blends the 3D simulation that Universal is starting to become known for around this time with the physical thrill of a coaster. Gringotts surprises riders with a tilted drop at the start of the ride and unique ride vehicles that can sway side to side while going through the coaster track. While more simulator than roller coaster, Gringotts is a great example of how Universal manages to bake thrills into every ride experience they create. In that same year, the Wizarding World also expands to Universal Studios Japan. This land is an identical version of Hogsmeade in Orlando, including its own Flight of the Hippogriff, Japan's third coaster. Similar in layout to the first Hippogriff, the coaster is actually made by a different manufacturer. This second version of the ride also comes to Universal Studios Hollywood in 2016 with their opening of their first Harry Potter land, making it the park's second roller coaster behind The Revenge of the Mummy. In 2016, over at Universal Studios Japan, Universal cranks the intensity levels to an 11 and creates their most thrilling coaster yet. USJ opens the Flying Dinosaur, a flying coaster that sends riders soaring through the skies of Jurassic Park in a face-down flying position, creating a sensation unlike anything else in Universal's portfolio. Reaching speeds of 62 miles per hour and featuring 5 inversions, this ride is packed with intense elements including a massive pretzel loop, an inside Raven turn, and a 0G roll. Combined with its unique flying posture and relentless pacing, the Flying Dinosaur delivers an experience that many Universal fans consider not only one of Universal's best roller coasters, but also one of the most intense attractions they have ever built. While Flying Dinosaur is still considered to be one of the wildest Universal coasters out there, 2019 brings us what is arguably one of, if not the best, coaster Universal has ever built, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. This ride was built where the former Dueling Dragons was and is a worthy successor. Rather than focusing solely on speed or inversions, the coaster seamlessly blends storytelling, technology, and thrills, creating an experience that feels as much like an adventure as it does a roller coaster. The coaster combines 7 launches, forwards and backwards, setting a world record for the most launches on a roller coaster, a backwards section, a vertical spike, and a surprise free-fall track drop into a journey to the Forbidden Forest. The result is a ride that many visitors and theme park fans alike consider not only one of Universal's greatest attractions, but one of the best roller coasters ever built. When Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure first opened up in the summer of 2019, it opened to a 600-minute wait, 10 hours. And to this day, Hagrid's remains as the most popular ride at all of the Universal parks in Orlando. 2019 was a major turning point in the Universal Orlando timeline. For the first time since they opened, more and more people were coming to Orlando to visit Universal specifically. With 2 parks, multiple hotels, and an incredibly popular must-see attraction with Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, Universal was the destination and not an add-on to a theme park vacation. The resort was seeing its highest level of attendance yet, with over 21 million visitors, and things seemed like they were on a path to keep growing, until the world, and Universal, shut down in 2020 due to the global pandemic. But even though the parks were closed, that did not stop Universal from building their next major roller coaster. During these unprecedented times, Universal showed the theme park community unprecedented ambition by starting work on the Jurassic World Velocicoaster while the parks were still closed. Much of the roller coaster was done by the time the parks reopened, and when people were let back in, they couldn't help be amazed by the progress of Universal's newest churro stand. Velocicoaster opened in the summer of 2021 and was an immediate hit. Velocicoaster had the theming and immersion of Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, but double, maybe triple, the thrills of the Harry Potter coaster. Riders soar 155 feet up in the air, down a 140-foot drop, 4 inversions including a 2-second 0G stall which hangs riders upside down for 100 feet, and the iconic Mosasaurus roll, a 53-mile-per-hour heartline roll over the Islands of Adventure Lagoon. Velocicoaster also became the fastest roller coaster at any Universal park, with a launch reaching speeds of 70 miles per hour. The effectiveness of this coaster isn't just obvious at Universal, but around the world. Very quickly, the Velocicoaster becomes recognized as a world-class attraction, often at the top of many coaster enthusiasts' lists for best coasters. And with a back-to-back release of Hagrid's and Velocicoaster, Universal Orlando proves that they can provide some of the most epic theme park thrills in the Florida theme park landscape. And speaking of epic, 2021 is the same year that work begins on Universal's latest project, Epic Universe, a new 100-acre theme park that plans to once again raise the bar for theming, immersion, and ride technology, and with it, some brand new roller coasters. But before it officially opens in 2025, we head back to Asia, because at the end of 2021, another new Universal park opens, Universal Studios Beijing. This park is the largest Universal park in the world, over 130 acres. And while it boasts some impressive rides exclusive to them, like Jurassic World Adventure, there are also some coasters that are somewhat unique. In the Transformers Metro Base land, there's the park's largest coaster, the Decepticoaster. The park's signature coaster is actually a copy of the Incredible Hulk coaster at Islands of Adventure with the exact same track layout, the same drive tire launch, just themed to Transformers. Beijing also has a Wizarding World of Harry Potter with its own Flight of the Hippogriff. There's also a Minion Land, which has Loop-de-Doop-de, a kiddie coaster themed to Minions. And their land based off Jurassic World is host to Jurassic Flyers, an inverted power coaster that rides through the large mountain in the middle of the park. The year before Epic Universe opens in 2024, Universal Studios Japan adds a groundbreaking, or rather, ground-jumping, new roller coaster to their wildly popular Super Nintendo world. Minecart Madness, a roller coaster inspired by Nintendo's Donkey Kong, opens December 11th, 2024, after being originally planned to open in the spring of that same year. The major reason for the delays being due to the coaster's ambitious new technology. In order to sell the illusion of your minecart jumping from one track to another, Universal created a brand new type of coaster called a boom coaster, where the coaster train rides above a fake track and the real track is hidden underneath. This exciting and unique family coaster becomes the top priority ride at Universal Studios Japan, which is already the most visited Universal park in the world. Then, 2025 arrives, and Orlando gets its first major theme park to open in 25 years, Universal Epic Universe. Universal's $7.7 billion 100-acre theme park opens with 5 new immersive lands and room to grow. It also arrives with 5 new roller coasters to add to Universal's lineup. Epic Universe has the largest of the Super Nintendo worlds, now 3 across the world, and their own version of Japan's Minecart Madness. In the Dark Universe, a land based off the Universal monsters, the Curse of the Werewolf sits in the back of the park. And even though it's in the scariest world at Epic, this launched, free-spinning roller coaster is actually intended for families, reaching speeds of 37 miles per hour. Across the way, in the Isle of Berk, is Hiccup's Wing Gliders, a park favorite and must-see family coaster. Hiccup's Wing Gliders, in a way, feels like a relative of Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. This coaster features animatronics, onboard audio, and rides through the Isle of Berk, going by the water, under bridges, and through scenery to create one of Epic Universe's best experiences. These 3 roller coasters also fill a much-needed niche at the Universal parks, approachability. 3 of the big coasters at this brand new park have smaller height requirements, and for the first time at Universal Orlando, younger kids are getting to experience the major coasters in the park, not just the small ones built to make them happy. And even though Epic Universe is home to many mid-sized thrills, it wouldn't be a Universal park if there wasn't a major coaster built to please the wildest thrill seekers. And that coaster is Stardust Racers. An intertwined maze of steel beams and coaster track pierce the Epic Universe skyline and add another world-class coaster to the Orlando lineup. If Hiccup's Wing Gliders is related to Hagrid's, Stardust Racers feels like a spiritual successor to Dueling Dragons. They are the fastest and tallest at Epic Universe, reaching speeds of 62 miles per hour and launching 133 feet up in the air. Packed with airtime and 2 5,000-foot-long tracks, the yellow and green track dance around each other like comets in the night before coming together for the iconic and elegant Celestial Spin, both coasters only in version. Stardust Racers was an immediate favorite and is one of the most popular rides at Epic Universe. And with its 2 tracks and high efficiency, this in-demand roller coaster can keep a modest wait time so coaster fans can ride it all day and night. So from 1999 to 2025, the theme park community now knows this. Thrills are universal and also worldwide. with almost every Universal park across the globe having a big thrill coaster. All but one, the original Universal Studios Hollywood. But very soon, that is going to change. In 2026, Universal Studios Hollywood will open its first large-scale outdoor roller coaster, Fast and Furious, Hollywood Drift. Set to become the fastest coaster ever built for a Universal theme park at 72 miles per hour, Hollywood Drift combines speed with a ride system unlike anything guests have experienced before. At the heart of the attraction are its groundbreaking ride vehicles, each designed to rotate independently while traveling along the track. Rather than simply racing through turns, riders will physically drift around corners, recreating the sensation of high-speed street racing and drifting. Track passes over pathways, around buildings, and alongside the park's iconic Starway escalators, making the attraction a constant presence throughout the resort. And while Hollywood Drift may be racing towards its debut in California, Universal's next chapter of roller coaster innovation is already taking shape in Orlando. Set to open in 2027, Universal Studios Florida will also be getting their own version of Hollywood Drift, being built in the space where Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket used to be. Each version of Hollywood Drift is built differently for the park that they're in, and as construction continues to transform the park, including the 170-foot tall vertical spike, excitement has only continued to build, with each new track piece and construction milestone offering a glimpse into what could become another landmark attraction in Universal's growing coaster legacy. Looking back at Universal's history through its roller coasters, it's remarkable to see how much things have changed in the last 35 years. Universal Studios Florida opened in 1990 as a movie studio theme park built around tram tour-style attractions and special effects. But as the years went on, roller coasters became some of the clearest examples of Universal's growing ambitions. The Incredible Hulk showed the world that Universal could compete with thrill parks from around the world. Revenge of the Mummy blended storytelling and thrills in a way that would influence attractions for decades on. Hagrid's and Velocicoaster elevated the resort from a vacation add-on into a destination all on its own. Today, nearly every Universal park around the world is home to at least one major roller coaster. Some break records, some tell stories, some simply exist to make us scream. But together, they tell the story of a company that never stopped evolving. And with new coasters already rising in Hollywood and Orlando, the next chapter of Universal's story is already being written in steel.